Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and the other day I was sitting down doing some thinking, which is something I like to do from time to time, is to actually stop and think. And it occurred to me that after this most recent meta-analysis that came out this year showing that branched-chain amino acids actually do not have any real benefits for athletes, for people who exercise, people who lift weights, and it's pretty conclusive, and it's pretty damning towards the industry that pimped these things out. It occurred to me that this is a clear-cut case of false advertising on an enormous and broad-scale level. And when you really think about that, what that means is that a lot of these companies, and I'm not going to name any, but we all know a specific company that Pocket Liner originally started, that did business with Lane Norton for years and continued to do so, that pretended that branched-chain amino acids actually worked. They marketed them, and at a certain point, branched-chain amino acid product actually accounted for over 50% of their annual revenue, meaning it was their number one product. And this is a multi-million-dollar a year company. It's a big company. And this is one of the companies that kind of threw their hat in the ring on me when I discussed some of the branched-chain research that Lane had done, which created for me all sorts of problems. And, I look back in retrospect and I realize the reason people came after me so hard for that, Lane and other people, is because I think they realized, oh my God, there are people talking about this, the gig might be up. The gig might be up. If this person on YouTube is talking about this, we need to shut him down because we can't have people know that there isn't really good evidence to show that this stuff works. We're making millions and millions of dollars a year off this product. And you know what? There were dozens of companies that did. But, here's the problem with that. This product was pushed and propped up and pimped by respectable coaches based upon the advertising and the claims that there was data showing it might work. And I mean, to the point to where coaches I actually respect, who had science-based backgrounds, were pushing this stuff. And I mean, guys who are very, very high-level powerlifters and who coach other powerlifters were promoting this stuff. People who promote various athletes. God, even my bro Alex Viada was promoting this stuff for certain types of athletes because he believed there was evidence that it might be helpful. He actually believed that and legitimately believed that. I don't think he was even selling one of the products, but he was promoting it. This is the most widely spread product of the decade in the supplement industry, that now that it's been so widespread that there had to be more research done, meaning it started getting the attention of academics. And because of that, a large body of research was created, and then the conclusions were that it doesn't actually do anything. And the problem is that this was all built off of research. You guys look back and look at Norton's stuff. This is what catapulted this product forward, because someone stepped back and did some research that showed some things on leucine. And of course, as the backstory goes, he claims it's not what he was looking for. And no one can prove or disprove that statement. All you really have is his word on that. And that's fair enough. But what a coincidence that he happened to be studying the most active ingredient, it's the leucine and branched-chain amino acids, which happened to be the product that was going to be pimped the most by his bro Lob Liner, who brought it into the industry, who they were close personal friends, and then ties to a company that he admitted he had ties to from the beginning. That he happened to research something that concluded, at least in rodents, anabolic signaling in the body, even when taken in isolation. That really drove it forward, because he built a name for himself because the industry propped him up, and there was a PhD saying this. Well, that led to some other smaller studies, and before long, a lot of people were out here saying, look, this stuff seems to work. It seems to work. And these companies took advantage of that, and this stuff went everywhere. Well, now, the newest data looking at the total sum of things, for people who don't understand, a meta-analysis is considered to be your trump card of studies. If you don't know how this works, what a meta-analysis is when a group of doctors go through and pull every single study ever done on a subject, and they weigh out the studies of how well they were done and how they compare to each other. They look for bias in the studies. They look for conflicting findings and to find the reason. So if you got 7 studies showing some stuff and 5 say one thing and 2 say the exact opposite, they actually sit down and weigh out the strength of those 7 studies and figure out specifically what variable caused there to be a different conclusion. All right, meta-analysis is considered to be a comprehensive overview of all the available current research on an issue or on a topic. And yeah, they concluded it doesn't help with muscle growth. It doesn't help with recovery. And when we mean these in isolation, we're not talking about when they're part of a larger matrix. But if you are taking in a given amount of protein and you just add straight branched chain amino acids, whether it's orally, through an IV, anything else, it doesn't improve muscle growth. It doesn't reduce muscle loss in a cut. It doesn't improve muscle growth. It doesn't improve muscle protein synthesis. It doesn't improve recovery. And in fact, several studies were done to where if you infused enough in the body with IVs, it caused a loss of nitrogen retention. That's a catabolic response in the long term. When you really look at that, that basically means you're losing muscle potentially. That is potential muscle loss. So in the worst case scenario, this thing might actually do the opposite. It might cause muscle loss. Well, the problem is that this product was pushed so heavily that everyone used it. And you know what? Here's the thing. This isn't for me to say. This isn't for you to say. But if some group of lawyers see this, and I would urge that, if I have any lawyers out there who deal in this sort of law here in the U.S., maybe look into that. Maybe there could be a class action lawsuit started if there's sufficient evidence that these companies knowingly sold a product like this that they knew didn't work and made millions and millions of dollars, because that basically means people were scammed. And if that really is the case, and that's not for me to say, that's for a judge to say, that's for lawyers to look into, then technically anyone who could prove they bought these products could be entitled to money for it, because they were scammed. They were scammed out of their money by an industry and by companies who potentially knowingly sold them a product they knew didn't do anything. And it would be one thing if only, $1 million or $2 million of this stuff was sold. But it's tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in branched chain amino acids have been sold. And that means people lost tens of millions of their hard-earned dollars towards a product that doesn't do what it's claimed to do, and that there was no evidence for it. And you guys got to remember, under the current Dietary Supplement Act, the FDA allows supplement companies to sell products that do not have evidence that they actually work. All right? So in other words, they're not going to get into legal trouble in terms of criminal penalties, or the FDA or DEA or anyone like that hitting them with fines, but that doesn't mean that they didn't knowingly rip off consumers. And knowingly ripping off consumers is different. In other words, consumers could sue these companies if there can be sufficient evidence shown that they knew these products didn't work. And you know what I would suggest? I would suggest the number of these people who came after me personally to silence me about this years before this meta-analysis was done, when I questioned the validity of the research. You know what? A reasonable person on a jury might look at that. If I were ever brought before this and asked to testify about this, I would totally do so. If a class action suit came up and those lawyers contacted me, and I want to put this out there, and asked me to testify about this under oath, I would. And I would strongly even suggest that it's my belief that I was attacked over this in order to silence me, because they didn't want someone blowing the whistle on the fact that this was a con. You know what? And to me, the way that I was attacked over this so harshly by several individuals in this industry with extremely strong financial ties to branched chain aminos, that would suggest to me that they really wanted to cover that up, and they wanted to silence any opposing voice through any means necessary. All right, now that's evidence of a cover-up. And my honestly held opinion is, therefore, these companies knowingly committed fraud by selling this product, because we now know it doesn't work at all. Anyone who's still buying BCAAs right now is uninformed. But back then, they weren't. People were tricked into buying a product that doesn't work. And anyone like me who tried to say, hey guys, this stuff may not be all it's cracked up to be, were silenced. Again, now that's potential fraud. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.